let's talk about something new that we don't do that much. Let's talk about something different. Now I'm thinking about placing my opinions on Spider-Man movies, shows, video games. I'm thinking about doing that type of thing now. Since now I got, bigger sub count now. I decided to place my opinions on Spider-Man and a whole bunch of other shit about Spider-Man. So that's what we're going to be talking about. In this first topic, you can read the title of this video, what the first topic is going to be. So let's talk about it. Let's discuss this whole thing about it. Alright? And now you're asking me why? Why do I think Spider-Man 1 is better than Spider-Man 2? So let's start off talking about the stories between the first two films. Spider-Man 1 2002, Spider-Man 2 2004. Let's talk about between these two films. We're not talking about the third one, we're not talking about The Amazing Spider-Man, we're not talking about Tom Holland's garbage. We're talking about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1 and 2. So let's talk about the first story of the first movie. Let's talk about that first. So, Spider-Man 1. This is about, the Green Goblins, Peter Parker figuring out his powers and whatnot, how to use it. And there's Mary Jane. He's in high school, gets in a fight with Flash Thompson. He wants to buy a car, so he goes to this wrestling thing against Macho Man Randy Savage. Then Peter gets ripped off. As the guy said that you gotta win under a certain time to get the money, so you get only $100 because he's a fucking greedy bastard. But Karma's a bitch because the robber steals the money from him, and fucking Peter let that guy get away with it, and fucking the guy's like, what did I get away for? And fucking Peter's like, well, you forgot the part, that's my problem. Damn right, but that caused another problem because the guy's uncle killed him just to let him get away. Then later, Peter gets revenge against the guy who killed his uncle. Beat the shit out of him, and the robber accidentally falls out the window and he dies. I think so, or I forgot what happened. I mean, maybe Peter punched him out the window. I forgot what happened. Then after that, fucking he later gets a job at Jay Jameson's fucking Daily Bugle and shit. And I really like J.K. Simmons, man. He does a perfect job as Jay Jameson, man. He does a really good job as Mr. Jameson. I love his voice when he does it too. He's like, Parker! I love the way he talks, man. It's like brilliant, man. He's like really brilliant how he does it. But anyways, yeah. And then the Green Goblin, he gets revenge against his own company and shit because they keep fucking with him and shit. So he kills every motherfucker, and then now later on, the fucking company wants to merge with another company, and they fucking got rid of Norman. So Norman got pissed, so he goes to kill him at the party where I think that's Harry's birthday. So he kills them, and Spider-Man gets in a fight with him and shit and whatnot. And he wants to work with him after sabotaging fucking Jay Jameson's place because Peter's gonna show up, so he got an idea to just go fuck with him. Peter's Spider-Man's gonna show up and fuck with Green Goblin, so he puts him to sleep and fucking talks to him and shit. So come on, join me and shit. Let's go fuck shit up together. Fuck New York and all that shit. Another thing is, I really like the beef that they have between each other. The chemistry between the two characters. I really like the chemistry between the actors and the characters. It works so brilliant between the two characters. The beef, I really love the beef between each other too. Spider-Man and Green Goblin has the best beef of all movies. I mean, of all Marvel movies, I mean. That's the thing, because Spider-Man 2 is a totally different thing. While in Spider-Man 1, it was a lot more darker tone, a lot more serious. Even though there was the times there's goofy, funny scenes going on in the film, that wasn't goofy all the time like the second movie was. The second movie, I feel like there was a lot of filler going on in that film, and there was a lot of too many comedy going on in that movie, and the villain wasn't that strong to me. I mean, I like Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. He does a really good job as Doc Ock, but I feel like the way he turns bad is the wrong way they wrote it. Because the reason why he turns bad is because his project like went like malfunctions and shit, and one of the shards flies out of the motherfucker and kills his wife, like stabs her right in the fucking head and kills her. So he turns bad. Another thing is fucking his robotic arms, his octopus arms, fucking malfunctions on his back. So now it's like stuck in his back forever, and he's like had his own mind and shit now. After he gets out of the hospital and shit, and now he wants to be hate everything now or whatnot. And he wants to like rebuild his whole fucking project once again. You know, it failed the first time. Why bring it back again? Doc Ock. So yeah, it's just, especially the whole 2.1 thing, the extra scenes and stuff. I mean, I like when Jay Jameson's dressed as Spider-Man. I thought that shit was hilarious. How he dressed as Spider-Man and make like he's Spider-Man shit, like psh, psh, psh. But he still got a cigar in his mouth and shit. I like this is fucking hilarious. And the motherfucker's like looking through the fucking blinds, seeing how fucking goofy he is. It's like, what the fuck is he doing? I thought he hates Spider-Man. Why is he dressed like that? Oh, holy shit. I mean, I like other extra scenes, like he's in the elevator with this other guy, and he's like, Spider-Man's in the elevator with this other guy, talking to him and shit. And, you know, I like pizza time. He's late to deliver the pizza. He's like, pizza time. I like a lot of that shit, but I feel like this movie, like, there's shit like that they should even did. Like, Spider-Man loses his powers, and now he's trying to do, like, he goes back to being just Peter Parker again, wearing glasses and whatnot, eating hot dogs, watching the firefighters take care of fires and shit. And it's just, why go back to the way he was before? I don't get that. Why revert back to the way he was in the first movie and in the beginning, when he just taking pictures of Mary Jane? I didn't get what the director was trying to do there, but it was an interesting idea, but I feel like they should never did that, though. I feel like that was some kind of another thing of filler going on in that film, just to make the movie longer. I feel like that wasn't even needed, make him like lose his abilities and shit. You know that one scene is funny when he falls up down to the ground trying to swing his spider web. He's like, my back, like an old hermit or something. Like he's an old man or some shit. My back. But yeah, that shit was funny, but it's just that Doc Ock's chemistry between Spider-Man. It wasn't that well written to me. I feel like it was pretty poor the way they have those two going against each other. The beef wasn't strong. Like, it wasn't had that tough beef between each other to me. Especially when they had that fight at the bank. It did not have that vibe like how it was with Spider-Man and Green Goblin, which their beef was powerful and actually, you know, showed a real chemistry between the two characters. But Spider-Man and Doc Ock didn't really show anything that well, because Peter Parker was good friends with Doc Ock before he became Doc Ock. Peter Parker and Norman Osborn, he only knows Norman Osborn because of Harry, because Harry's his best friend. That's the only way he knows Norman, because he's his best friend Harry. So that's really the difference there. Is that Peter Parker wasn't even his friend. He was mostly friends with Harry. But with Doc Ock, before he became Doc Ock, he was more friends with him because he actually knew him. Because he actually went over his house to eat dinner and shit, and talk and whatnot. But like I said about Spider-Man and Doc Ock, it's just that their chemistry wasn't there to me. It just felt like anything like how it was with Spider-Man and Green Goblin was. They didn't have that beef at all. It didn't really have that much of a beef, to be fair. Like I said, Doc Ock's the only reason why I had to get angry is just that because his wife died during that project disaster he had. That's the only reason why he went bad. Norman went bad because of a fucking science lab thing went wrong, and that shit like fucked his brain up and shit. He went crazy. That's the only reason why he went bad, because the thing like fucked up. It made him go insane. So that's really a big difference right there. I feel like Doc Ock should have been a better written villain. He should have been like, you know, pure evil, not like somewhat evil. He wasn't even that evil, to be fair. All he was doing mostly is just like robbing a bank and shit. And like, I mean, the only thing he really tried to do really evil is that trying to kill people off a train or something. But he wasn't evil like fucking Green Goblin. He wasn't pure evil like Green Goblin was. Green Goblin like almost killed, Mary Jane and a bunch of kids with a bunch of I think adults on there also, trying to throw both of them off and shit. And like he killed a bunch of his own fucking Oscorp people and blew them up because they betrayed him and shit. I mean, he killed way more people than Doc Ock did, I think. Doc Ock should have been like this PS1 Spider-Man game. He should have been more like that. But I guess the director decides to come up with something different, make him soft or something. Like I said, in the comics, he's like way more different. I mean, like he's like way more different character. Unless there is, since it's the same thing like the comics where his wife gets killed or something. But not that I remember. Because I remember Doc Ock used to be like way more evil than the movie was. Like I said, I like Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. He does a really terrific job as Doc Ock, but I just don't seem like he should have been more evil. He should have been the way that I thought he was going to be, like pure evil, but he wasn't. Because at the end, he turns good because he stops the machine of blowing up again. So I guess he sacrificed himself or some shit, and that's what happens. Because at the end of the other movie, the first movie, Spider-Man and Green Goblin beat the shit out of each other, while the second one is like totally different. It's just way, way different, and it wasn't that interesting of the final fight to me. It should have been like a better fight. I don't know, this was pretty bland. It should have been like the way how it was the first movie was, but I guess I understand why. And the whole scientist thing again in the second movie, like they already did that before in the first movie with Norman Osborn. They do it again in the second movie again, which I understand because Doc Ock in the comic is a scientist. So, but I feel like they shouldn't. Another thing is he should never be friends with Peter Parker. I feel like they should be like a totally different thing. I feel like the whole idea of him being friends with Peter should have been like, no, I don't think that should have been an idea. Because I remember Doc Ock wasn't like that. Because, like I said, well, I never said it, but I never actually read a comic book, so maybe he was friends with him in the comic books, but I feel like the whole idea should have been scrapped with the whole idea of being friends with Doc Ock before he became Doc Ock. And the other thing, when his wife gets killed by I guess a glass shard, I think they should give him something else that makes him evil. It's like a better idea. This plot is like a lot more weaker than the first movie, and a lot of people don't like the first movie. I'm like, why not? It's fucking awesome, man. It's badass. I just think that Spider-Man 2 has like a weaker script, like a weaker plot, because I don't know, the writing was just not the same like the first movie was. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but everyone has their own opinions. I respect it, I'm a bigger fan of the first movie because, the beef and the chemistry between Spider-Man and Green Goblin, I just really loved the chemistry between the two characters. Especially how Green Goblin was written, and had like the perfect actor to play him, William Dafoe. He was like perfect for the role. Whereas, Alfred Molina, he did pretty well, but the writing for the character wasn't that well written, and this whole story background wasn't well written either. Should have been something like a lot better for the character. Which they also brought him back and brought William Dafoe back for the new Spider-Man movie coming out in December, which I don't really want to fuck with because I'm not a fan of Tom Holland. Which I already know, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's gonna come back in that film. And all that other bullshit because, Marvel's going broke, so they decided to try to bring old fans back to watch the movie. What they trying to do with me, because I'm an old fan, because I'm a big... Let's forget about that. Let's go back to talking about Spider-Man 1 and 2. Another thing I have a problem with Spider-Man 2 is just that Mary Jane, she's a goddamn damsel in distress again. I don't understand why they did that again. Like, she can't defend herself or something? Like, what's the idea with that? Like, can't she, like, throw hands or something, hit somebody with something, like a wood stick, a 2x4 or something? Like, why should it be like that again, like the first movie? Like, why repeat the same thing again? Instead, make something different with the character. That's another problem with the film, is that. And her whole, Broadway shit. Like, anyone gives a shit about her stupid Broadway horse shit. I think that's just in the movie, too, the second one. It's about her fucking Broadway shit. She's trying to be a singer and shit. They should have done something different with that. Make her a singer. Should give her like a different job as not a singer. I thought that was a stupid idea. Make her do Broadway. I think you should give her something that's not Broadway. I don't know, something that actually, a better thing for her. That actually would actually work for a Spider-Man movie. But yeah, that was another one of the issues of Spider-Man 2 that I had was that damsel in distress, and she was a Broadway singer for some fucking reason. I don't know why that was the idea of that. And like, it's another thing about the movie, it drags too. It's like, it really does drag. Like, there's like a lot of pointless scenes going on in the film, and like a lot of filler. And it should have been like I said, it should have been like the first movie, fast paced, dark tone, serious. Sometimes, I mean, what should be like funny jokes, but not like all the time funny jokes. It's like how it was the first one, but I understand they want to change it up, but somehow they did it in the wrong way in the second movie. Which people are like really big fans of the second movie. They think it's better than the first and the third one, but that's their opinion. I just think the first one is the best one of all three of them. Hold on, I see a fucking spider. Oh, speaking of spiders, he's crawling right now, trying to come right to me. I'm about to fucking kill it. He's not gonna bite me. I'm gonna turn right to. You know what? I should let it bite me. Might turn to Spider-Man. Look at him just crawling on the floor. Hang on a second. Well, I got bitten by a spider. Nah, I'm kidding. I got rid of it. It's funny how I'm talking about Spider-Man stuff, and somehow a spider crawls up out of nowhere. I find that hilarious. And kind of odd. But anyways, yeah, Spider-Man 1 is way better than Spider-Man 2. That's the reason why I like it better. Better, like, it has like darker tone, more serious, better chemistry between the two characters, better scenes, better jokes. I mean, no, I wouldn't say better jokes. Spider-Man 2 had funnier jokes, to be fair. I mean, Spider-Man 1 had funny jokes like, about, Spider-Man had to beat up an old lady to get some cranberry sauce or something. Like, that shit was pretty fucking hilarious when you said that. But in Spider-Man 2, they had like pizza time, J. Jameson dressed as Spider-Man, and the elevator scene. Yeah, I agree to that. The scenes are funnier in the second movie than the first movie. They had better jokes. But other things about Spider-Man 2 is not better than Spider-Man 1. Like the character and the story and whatnot. They reuse things in the second movie, like the soundtrack. I mean, Danny Elfman does a good job, but he should have like changed it up a little bit or something, I guess. I mean, the music's really memorable in the first movie, but the second one, they should have like changed it up a little bit, but then he got butthurt and decided he's not gonna do it no more because the third movie is like a different guy. He did some same music like Danny Elfman does, but yeah. I think he got in a fight with the director of Evil Dead. He got like mad about something with him or something. I forgot what happened with that. They had some feud about something. That's why he didn't return for the third movie. Because fuck this shit. I'm not doing this no more. That's what he said. And Danny Elfman is a pretty good soundtrack guy. He makes good music. Too bad you don't see him anymore because this generation don't hire composers anymore. Maybe like some fucking movies they hire composers. Well, not everything anymore. They don't do that no more for some reason. I'd rather listen to people compose music than listen to shitty, modern, copyright horseshit. That's all about now. It's like always about copyright modern garbage they use for movies now instead of actually being original. But anyways, yeah, Spider-Man 1 easily beat Spider-Man 2. The only thing good about Spider-Man 2 was the better jokes. I mean, I'm not saying Spider-Man 2 sucks, it's just that I like the first one more than the second one. Which there's a lot of people that do agree with me with that, but the other ones will not agree with me with that because they're a big fan of the second movie. Excuse me. Which I don't know. I don't see what's so good about the second movie. It's just that, like I said, a lot of filler and what's the next filler, and the villain is weak, and it's not really that fast paced like the first movie. And the chemistry between Spider-Man and Doc Ock wasn't the same like was with Spider-Man and Green Goblin. And Green Goblin was like living rent free in Spider-Man's head, while Doc Ock wasn't living rent free in Spider-Man's head. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, he did beat his ass at times, but wasn't that like how the Green Goblin is? Green Goblin beat the brakes off of Spider-Man. Doc Ock, he just fucking grabs Spider-Man and throws it around like a rag doll. That's like way different. Like, Green Goblin actually gives him a beat down. He uses fucking robotic tentacles, and just throws it around in the air and shit, like a fucking pizza time pizza. This is not the same. I don't know what it is. I just really like the beef between Spider-Man and Green Goblin. They had like a way better beef between each other and all that. The second one, they had that type of beef. This wasn't there. It wasn't there between those two characters in the second movie. It didn't had it. Like I said, there was like a lot of unnecessary scenes going in that movie. It was, like I said, with the whole Spider-Man loses powers for some reason. It was like, because he had no confidence or something in him anymore. That's why he lost his powers. Which, like I said, that should not have been in the movie. That should have been just scrapped. The idea should have been scrapped. Which I did like the idea when he was going with the director. I like the idea he was going with that, but he should have did something like better than that. Especially with Doc Ock. Like I said, Doc Ock should have been like a more evil villain. Not because his wife get killed by a shard and his project went massacre and killed everybody. Should be something way different, because the same thing happened with Green Goblin. Same thing with him. His shit went crazy. And his shit like freaked out at his science lab. His shit freaked the fuck out and make him act crazy. Same shit. It's just that Doc Ock is like, he had like a crazy ass fucking giant rocket. Some giant nuclear shit he's trying to make or some shit, and it's like it's sucking all the gravity and all that whatnot. They should do something different with him, with Doc Ock. Just do something different. But anyways, I might just I think that just is it to talk about. Another thing I forgot to mention: Spider-Man 1 actually had blood going on in that movie. Remember, like, the final fight between Green Goblin and Spider-Man when they're beating the shit out of each other, blood was coming out of their mouth and shit. He got cut on his arm, blood. That actually had blood in there. The second movie, I don't think I remember them actually having blood in that movie when they're beating the shit out of each other. I don't think I remember. Maybe from that train scene, maybe, perhaps? I think. Well, I don't think I remember any blood from that movie. Because the second one came, like, more kid-friendly, the second movie. It's, like, a little more kid-friendly than the first movie. First we feel like it's like more like a adult type of film. But Spider-Man 2, any day over the Tom Holland trilogy, any day over those fucking movies. Good God, those movies are terrible. I don't know how they even make those fucking movies. Tom Holland's movies are really terrible. Like, his characters, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is like Mr. Magoo. That's how bad his character is in that movie. It's like a parody of Spider-Man. And he wasn't even Spider-Man. He was Iron Boy Jr. He wasn't even Spider-Man. Most of the time, he's using Iron Man's gear. Even when he's dead, he's using Iron Man's gear. Like, you're Peter fucking Parker. Use your own shit. What are you doing? This is not Spider-Man. Spider-Man don't use Iron Man shit all the fucking time. That's pathetic. Spider-Man's not like that. He don't use a fucking Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man's fucking gear. What the fuck is that? And fucking Iron Man showed him in the first movie. Dude, it's a Spider-Man's movie. This is not Iron Man 4. What are you doing in this movie? I don't get it. Like, I mean, I'm fine if he's his mentor, but not treat him like he's his dad or something. Like, come on, it's fucking Spider-Man. Why the fuck is he here? Why does he need his help? Why does he need his Iron Man equipment shit? Can't he just figure it out on his own? Like, you know, like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield did? This guy, Tom Holland's character sucks. He's such a, like, his character's a wimp. And he's always fucking shit up in that movie. You know, we're gonna talk about that another time. We're gonna talk about Tom Holland's Spider-Man another time. We're gonna talk about that another fucking time. That should actually get me annoyed right now, I'm just talking about it. But now, in my opinion, Spider-Man 1 will always be better than Spider-Man 2. That is just it.